The relationship between the United States and Pakistan has traditionally been a complicated one. At times we're friends, sometimes we're not so friendly. Reportedly, the United States has given billions of dollars to Pakistan over the years, in part to support the war we've been waging in Afghanistan for the past 16 years. But there are those who believe, including the Trump administration, that Pakistan has been supporting the people that we're fighting against, namely the Taliban in Afghanistan. In an exclusive interview, Pakistan Ambassador Aizaz Ahmad Chaudhry joined us to clear up some of these issues. There is a great deal of tension at this point in time between our two countries. Many American citizens, and certainly the Trump administration, believe that even though we're supporting Pakistan financially and have done so by giving billions of dollars over a period of years, that Pakistan is nonetheless harboring terrorists and supporting the Taliban in Afghanistan. As far as you're concerned, where do things stand right now between the United States and Pakistan?
Thank you very much for having me here, and also for providing me the opportunity to clarify some of the stereotypes, including the one that you just alluded to, i.e. that US has provided billions of dollars to Pakistan and in return it has provided support to Taliban and Haqqanis. Both these assertions, if you allow me, are not correct. One, that it has always been a story of convergence of interests that brought us together, and we worked together. We achieved results together. The most recent of that was, of course, when we fought Al-Qaeda, which had caused 9/11. And Pakistan and United States worked effectively, shared intelligence, and Pakistan killed 1,100 operatives of Al-Qaeda and handed over to the US 600. Now, did we do that for money? I don't think so. I think at that time, after 9/11, there was a big question that was raised for Pakistan. Whose war is it? Is it our war or is it an imposed war? Because the background went back to 1979, when this whole concept of Afghan jihad had emerged, when the Soviet Union had invaded Afghanistan. When the Soviets left, these militants stayed back. And when 9/11 happened and Americans came and bombed Tora Bora heavily, these people crossed border and came into the mountains straddling Pakistan. And when Pakistan became a member of the international coalition led by the United States, we became a legitimate target for all these militants. So within that, the polity of Pakistan, there were people who were saying that this was not our war. Why are we fighting these people? They had not waged a war against us. So it was a cost to Pakistan. And up till now, we have paid about $120 billion of cost, our own money, to fight this war, which to begin with was not our war. It became our war, but it was not our war. We didn't welcome these militants to Pakistan, but they came. And when we joined you as your partner, they started bombing Pakistani cities and houses and whatever else. So we paid that huge, humongous price for this war, which was not to begin with our war. So if people now measure the relationship in dollars and cents, then let's sit down and do the math and work out who has given whom what. I don't think this kind of idiom is suitable for two nations who have remained largely friends with each other, who have worked together, achieved results. When it comes to your second part of the question, that Pakistan is supporting Taliban and the Haqqanis, My answer to you would be that Pakistan is not. We are not supporting Taliban and the Haqqanis because they do not represent in any way the worldview of the people of Pakistan. We also don't want them to come to power by force in Kabul. They are Afghans. They should be present in Afghanistan. They should join the political mainstream there. Yes, when 3 million refugees came into Pakistan, all these people came there. But now we are pushing, and any Haqqani who has come to Pakistan and is using Pakistan's soil, we don't want that. They have spoiled our relations with your country, or at least brought distress. We don't want that, because for us our relationship with your country is more important. But do I measure this all in dollars and cents? I don't. I think what is more important is that when friends, and we have been friends for 70 years, and I think that to us is a much more important description. And that's why when we had, recently some descriptions of this type coming from high leadership, the people of Pakistan were thoroughly disappointed.
The belief is that the motivation for Pakistan to support terrorists or to support the Taliban in Afghanistan, for example, is that the Afghanistan government is friendly with India, which is Pakistan's arch rival, and Afghanistan has some designs on Pakistan. The two countries share a common border, and Afghanistan is, in theory, looking at encroaching on some of Pakistani territory. What are your thoughts about that particular theory? Is there any truth to that at all?
Taliban and the Haqqanis are not Pakistan's bet, are not Pakistan's proxy, are not Pakistan's hedge against anything in Afghanistan. We have suffered the most from the instability in Afghanistan. Whenever there was instability in Afghanistan, it permeated through those open porous borders to hurt Pakistan. We have reached a conclusion that we need a peaceful Afghanistan, a sovereign, independent, peaceful, progressive, prosperous Afghanistan. That is our interest. These strategic games that you are talking about are the concoctions of the minds of some scientists, social scientists. But that have nothing to do with the reality. The reality is that when Soviets came into Afghanistan, 3 to 5 million refugees poured into Pakistan. And 38 years down the line, they still remain there. The reality is that Kalashnikov culture came into Pakistan, which we had not known ever. Reality is that the smugglers came in. Reality is that these drugs came in, because Pakistan became a transit country for them. We had destroyed opium completely. So why would we want an unstable Afghanistan? So we are very, very clear in our minds. And our message to Taliban is getting sterner and starker. That you are Afghans, you go and join the political mainstream there. We don't want you to live here. You are causing stress in our relations with Afghanistan and our relations with the United States. And we will continue to give them that message. But we are concerned about what India is doing in Afghanistan, or what the Afghan government is allowing India to do in Afghanistan. They have no interest in stabilizing Afghanistan. For them, the strategic issue is Pakistan. And they are following the policy of double squeeze, two-front situation. We have 200,000 troops deployed. It's a massive deployment, 200,000. Even at the peak in Afghanistan, the United States forces and NATO forces touched the figure of 144,000. We have 200,000 troops deployed, and we have another 150,000 on the line of control and border with India. This is a massive expense for Pakistan. So Indians want to keep Pakistan under pressure by doing that. So they are not providing troops in Afghanistan, are they? They're providing spies and advisors only. And you guys need to think about it. So instead of suspecting Pakistan, I think we would probably need to see the realities. Who loses and who benefits? We lose if Afghanistan is unstable. That's a reality we have come to respect. Therefore, we have started unilaterally focusing on securing the border between the two countries, which had remained porous and open. We don't want bad guys to come from Afghanistan and disturb our peace, or bad guys from Pakistan to go and disturb the peace in Afghanistan. And we think that one effective way would be to secure the border. We expect the US to cooperate with us on that. And more than that, we expect the Afghans to cooperate with us on that. We have started fencing the border, but out of 2,600 kilometers long border, only 800 kilometers is fenceable. We are fencing that, and the rest of the border we will build posts with mobile patrols. But on the Afghan side, we don't see that kind of effort being made. So we think that if there are bad people crossing border both ways, it is a joint problem for both countries. It doesn't mean that we are sealing the border. There will be actually more crossing points for bona fide travelers, traders, students, cultural troops, ordinary citizens. But bad guys, we need to stop their movement. So that is quite in line with what the US has also been saying. The second aspect that we have also been focusing on is the repatriation of refugees. 3 million, 38 years. Imagine the patience that Pakistani people have shown. You have 1 million refugees for whole of Europe, and there is such a big hue and cry, borders have been sealed and people have been stranded. 3 million, 38 years. But now we realize that some of these militants in Afghanistan are using these poor Afghan refugees as cannon fodder for their terrorist activity. And therefore, we believe that Afghan refugees should be in their own country to participate in the economic life of their country. A major security dimension has emerged.
How much concern is there in Pakistan about the United States putting more conditions on financial support? For example, Donald Trump was quoted last year as saying, "We have been paying Pakistan billions and billions of dollars, and at the same time, they are housing the very terrorists that we are fighting. But that will have to change, and that will change immediately." End quote. Are you worried? Are people in the government in Pakistan worried about the United States taking away money?
When the tweet was announced or released or issued on the New Year Eve by President Trump, it talked along the same lines, although the lines that you read to me were said while he announced the South Asia strategy on August 21, 2017. But a similar kind of language was used in the tweet. It has caused disappointment in Pakistan. Disappointment because we think that relationships should not be described in such manner. This is not a mercantile relationship. It's a relationship between two friends which go back in time. And it's not a bargain that US gives something and receives something. We are in it together. There was an objective for which US came to Afghanistan. What was that objective? Objective was to eliminate terrorism, Al-Qaeda, and ensure that Afghanistan does not become a safe haven again for a group of militants and terrorists who can stage events like 9/11 in US and US allies or rest of the world. That was the stated objective of the US. Not that you give money to Pakistan to do this, and then when you stop doing this, you stop giving money. That's why when the suspension of aid was announced, we said, we don't need your aid. We have said it at the highest level that we don't need your aid. We need respect and we need trust. And that's the position that my government has maintained. Second, if you want to really do the math, as I indicated in response to your earlier question, there is a lot that would need to be brought on the table. Pakistan has been providing air and ground lines of communications since 2002 totally free. Pakistan has been sharing intelligence and cooperating because, and is continuing to do that, because we believe that those objectives for which US came to Afghanistan need to be achieved by common effort. So we did not suspend our cooperation with the US. We are continuing with that. But if US wants to suspend the aid, we have said, sure, please do that. Because there are already questions in Pakistan about what that aid is achieving. Thousands of NGOs and INGOs are delivering that money. We don't know where and how. The government of Pakistan doesn't know where that money is going. And it has many security dimensions. The US aid doesn't go to government of Pakistan. Very tiny fraction of that goes to Pakistan.
Where did the money go?
Well, I think it goes through those NGOs to the local level. We don't know. Many of them may be operating as front organizations for something else. So we are, that's why I'm saying that if you want to go into that conversation, so many other aspects will come up. Pakistan does not want to go in that direction. That's why we did not react to the tweet or the announcement. Instead, we had a National Security Committee meeting where civil and military leadership sits, and they reached the conclusion that while we will express our disappointment, we will not engage in a war of words or tit for tat, because we believe that there is work to be done by Pakistan and United States together. And therefore, we don't want to lose the sight of that important objective. We want to still work with US because there are things to be done in Afghanistan and in our region to eliminate terrorism. Pakistan had made successes. It is unfortunate that in Afghanistan we could not make successes, but in Pakistan we have. And those lessons can be replicated and learned to achieve success in Afghanistan.
How can the Pakistani government and the US government work together to bring peace to Afghanistan?
I think first and foremost, we must rebuild trust. Trust is the basis for every relationship if it wants to be productive. Second, we must increase, not decrease, engagement. Engagement at every level, at diplomatic to diplomatic level, at military to military level, at intelligence to intelligence level, so that we remove the misunderstandings and see where the problem is and work with that. 3, US must appreciate the successes that Pakistan has achieved and recognize the sacrifices we have made in the fight against terrorism. 4, Pakistan would not like the humiliation or threats. We think that friends don't deal with each other in that manner. We think that it should be a relationship which should be based on mutual respect. And if steps like the ones that were announced, they are taken, then I'm afraid one thing will lead to the other and the two countries will drift apart. That will not be in the interest of Pakistan, but we think it will also not be in the interest of the United States.
Many Americans believe, and some in the government believe, that the Pakistan government knew that Osama bin Laden was hiding in Abbottabad and didn't do anything about it. And that is why there is a lack of trust by the American government of the Pakistan government. What about that? Did Pakistan know that Osama bin Laden was hiding in Abbottabad?
The US government has issued documents certifying that Pakistan government, there is no evidence that Pakistan government knew about it. They had done it after all that research. Yes, there are people who would speculate, but speculation is always there, but the government has never come back to us. And in fact, they have documented that there is no evidence that anyone in the government of Pakistan knew about this. Second, Osama bin Laden was an evil man. We are happy that he got killed, but we are unhappy the way he was killed. United States caused a national embarrassment to the government and people of Pakistan. This is not how friends deal with each other, and this is certainly not how allies deal with each other. If this intelligence had been shared with Pakistan, and if we had done that together, that would have saved us embarrassment and advanced our our trust level and achieved the same objective that was ultimately achieved.
If the government of Pakistan, as you say, did not know that Osama bin Laden was hiding in Abbottabad, the question then becomes, how could the government not know? Was this an intelligence failure?
There are examples of several people hiding and hiding for long times. I can think of one who remained on FBI's most wanted list and was discovered from California after 19 years. So this is what happens, because remember, we were in the eye of the storm. We were being targeted right, left, and center. We were fighting terrorism every day and every night. And these people had spread in the country. But we put it all together, we came together, and now they are all on the run. And therefore, Pakistan is winning and will continue to win. But we believe that our wins and our gains will be tentative if Afghanistan next door does not stabilize. All the recent attacks in the last 1 year, 131 of them, 128 of them were conceived, planned, and operated from the safe havens in Afghanistan. So we are more interested than US is in bringing peace to Afghanistan.
Have we been told the truth about Osama bin Laden's death? And I ask this because there is a very controversial account, which I'm guessing you've heard, that claims, this comes from a reporter in the United States, Seymour Hersh, who claims that Pakistani intelligence, the ISI, were holding bin Laden prisoner for 6 years in Abbottabad and then just handed him over to the Americans in a staged raid. What do you make of this?
These are all speculation, and all your series of questions are actually going to further increase the speculation. The fact of the matter that I have told you, that the US government has already recognized that the government of Pakistan, there's no evidence the government of Pakistan knew. And second, we think that it was not executed in the right manner. You embarrassed Pakistan. And that's what not friends and allies should do to each other. But all these speculation, of course, people have to sell their stories, let them say whatever they want to say.
What do you think are the things that unite the United States and Pakistan?
What binds Pakistan and the United States is the fact that after 1947, when Pakistan came into being, Pakistan was looking around for security and friendship, and the United States came in as a benevolent force, which worked with Pakistanis, put us on a path of progress and development. For 2 decades we worked together. We achieved a lot, both in the economic domain but also in the security domain. And that is what bound us together. But unfortunately, when US parted ways, it just parted ways abruptly. I'm referring mainly to 1980s, when we worked together on defeating the Soviet Union, and when Soviet Union went back, the United States just pulled out abruptly, imposed sanctions on Pakistan, and in my view wasted all that investment it had done by building up the image of a friend amongst the people of Pakistan. But we survived those sanctions. We lived for another day. And then came 9/11, And suddenly US again became our very good friend. And once Al-Qaeda was decimated, suddenly US says that no, your terrorism fight is not enough. I think ground realities are very, very different. So people of Pakistan believe that this mismatch of expectations has been a reason why we have not been able to continue the friendship in the way that we should be. From Pakistan's side, it's a cultural thing. We sometimes feel that a friend is a friend for life, and that during the period of friendship, we earn certain credits that take us through the period when we are actually having difficulty in relationship. US works different ways, different things. The US believes that it's the interests which bring nations together, and when the interests are not converging, that you are not together. So I think in one way it is a cultural issue. But back in Pakistan, there remains a deep desire to have friendship with US because we believe that for bulk of our history we were friends.
It's been just over 10 years since the assassination of Pakistani Prime Minister Benazir Bhutto, the first democratically elected female leader of a Muslim country. How would you assess the impact of that event on Pakistan a decade later?
Benazir Bhutto was a great leader of Pakistan, and it was unfortunate that she also fell victim to the same terrorist forces that have been destabilizing our country. This is also one of the high prices we paid in our fight and struggle against terrorism. But we are happy that at the end of the day, we have achieved our objective, put terrorists on the run, and secured our country on our own, from our own resources. And we are very pleased with that, and we would continue to that, and I think that would be the best tribute to the sacrifices that our leaders like Benazir have paid.
How can the relationship between our two countries, the United States and Pakistan, be strengthened?
Well, I think we have seen our ups and downs. In the 50s and 60s we were close, 70s we were not, 80s we were close, 90s we were not, 2000s we were close, 2010s we were not. So this wavy pattern indicates to me that it's a resilient relationship, and it will come back right up, because every time it went down it came back up. So I am confident, and I am working for that objective, to remove misunderstandings, to work on areas that unite us, and build on areas that unite us, and to work on areas that don't. So there's work to be done, but blame game will not be the answer. United States and Pakistan have things to do, and if we do that together, we will probably benefit both countries, and if we don't, then both will not.
Pakistani Ambassador to the United States, Aizaz Ahmad Chaudhry. Thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much. Okay.